What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Today is Saturday, so you know what that means. It's Mailbag Day, but it's also game day. We got another Bulls game today against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Zach LaVine is set to make his season debut at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to talk about last night's game against the Wizards just a little bit before we get into the mailbag, but first, got to get into that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So last night's game was frustrating for a couple of different reasons. While the Bulls were in position to possibly win that game down the stretch, and they deserve some credit for that, being able to fight back, things like that, it was really primarily Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan in that game. Now, Io did put some pressure on things and did some certain things, and we know Goran had some solid moments, but Kobe and Drummond off the bench were pretty solid overall as well, right? Overall for the game, like they had some moments, Kobe had some moments, and Drummond had some bad moments as well. But looking at this loss, like you can point to a couple of just places we just did not get production. And while I'm not on the move P. Will or P. Will's a bust bandwagon, I'm not on that. But he does need to play better. Passive P ain't going to get it done. We need Patrick Williams to find a way to get himself in gear. I don't know if he's in his head. I don't know if it's a self-doubt. I don't know if it's just his overall, like Patrick Williams just needs to go out there and play the game of basketball. Now, I'm not blaming everything on Patrick Williams as some Bulls fans would do. Him and Javonte Green were both horrible last night. Horrible. Both of them were just not effective, not good. We got a total of 7 points and 3 rebounds from our power forward position as a whole. That's not going to get it done. But when you look at Drummond, double-double off the bench in 18 minutes for Andre Drummond, legit. Kobe White, 10 points. He was 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from three-point range, and 2 for 4 from free throw as well. I want to see him play a little bit better, but you're seeing things with Kobe White. We're putting the ball on the floor, things like that he's improving. We need to see that consistency come back. We need to see that shot start to fall for him. Alex Caruso, to me, is just proving why Alex Caruso is a bench player and he's not been a volume shooter over the course of his career. Over the course of Alex Caruso's career, he's only averaged 5 shots per game, 5.4 shots per game. So far in this Bull season, he's averaging well over 10 shots per game. Last year, he averaged, I think, 6 shots per game for us. It's just, listen, and that's not Alex Caruso is not out there for shooting. He can shoot at times, using that shot to complement what he does on the defensive end, how he gets in transition, moving without the ball. That's what Alex Caruso is there for. Him being in the starting lineup, while cool, and he brings a huge defensive edge that we need, he's not nearly the offensive player that you want to rely on. Ayo Dosunmu is starting to grow into that, it seems, but he's not quite that yet either. So, you know, with what I'm saying in this is that let's wait and see what this team looks like with Zach LaVine out there. And keep in mind, we may not see fully healthy Zach LaVine out there tonight either, but listen, I think having Zach in the starting position is really just going to even everything out. It's going to put everybody more so in their more normal roles, for one. It's going to take off scoring loads for players that aren't volume scorers over their career, just players that we have needed to shoot a lot of shots in the first 2 games. But one of the things that are standing out is and I'm not just going to blame it all on P. Will. I know a lot of Bulls fans will, and he deserves a lot of critique thrown his way. But him and Javonte both, since the season has started, Javonte played great in preseason. Since the lights have been on, Javonte hasn't been good either. We need to see some improvement from this power forward position, or this team needs to take a look at cutting Tony Bradley and bringing in a Carmelo Anthony or something, because you can't have this type of performance at your 4, both in the starting lineup and on the bench. And I'm someone that knows Patrick Williams doesn't have to be a big-time scorer on this team. A lot of the critique that goes to Patrick Williams is because people want him as a 4th overall pick to just score a bunch. In my pregame to yesterday's game, I said that the thing I wanted to see and needed to see from Patrick Williams was just simply defense. I needed to see him come out and set the tone defensively on a Kyle Kuzma, who we knew he was going to be guarding a lot. He did not do that at all. That's where I want to see Patrick Williams make his bread and butter. Be the defender that a lot of people thought you were going to be in your rookie season. So many people heralded and said, this kid is going to be great. hang your hat on your defense now. Let the offense come to you. Come with the flow of the game. Those 5 or 6 shots you're going to get per game, take those aggressively, but focus on the defensive end. At least give us something there. If you can defend and you can rebound, we'll have it. It'll bode well. I don't care about the scoring. We got enough scoring on this team. I want to see it come along eventually, and I want to see him grow more confidence on the offensive end. But the thing that Patrick Williams can hang his hat on is the defensive end. We need to see that from Patrick Williams. Now, going into this game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, we know we're facing what's projected to be one of the better backcourts in the league. I don't think Darius Garland is playing. I'm not sure. Let me check the injury report real quick on that one. They do list Darius Garland as being out, so it doesn't seem like Darius Garland is going to play. So there you go on that. But the Bulls team needs to be locked in defensively. Period. They need to be locked in. Last night's game, while we were able to turn up the defensive intensity at times, we did not nearly have the same consistent defensive performance that we had against the Miami Heat. I want to see that come back against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is going to be a game. Our front court, Drummond off the bench is going to be key. Vooch, with his improved engagement on the defensive end, we're going to need every bit of that. This is another game with the front court that the Cleveland Cavaliers have that we are going to need Patrick Williams to step the hell up defensively. Again, I'm not even looking at what you do offensively. I need to see a good defensive game from you in a game that you're at a position of need that we're going to need to defend that position well. I need to see Patrick Williams do those things. We need to see it. Passive P ain't getting it done. It ain't getting it done, bruh. I love you. I love Patrick Williams. And I still think and I still believe, as this front office does, in the overall potential of a Patrick Williams. But you got to get it together, son. You got to get it together, young man. And I think that it will. We have a voicemail on that later, so I'm going to save some of that. But this game, since this episode is a mixture between a mailbag and a preview episode, since everything's going down today, I do really want to see the Chicago Bulls just tighten up that defense, right? Play better on that defensive end. I want to see Patrick Williams do it. I want to see the Bulls do it. I want to see them get back. This game last night, the thing that concerned me is that it almost looked in the style of play more like last year's stagnant offense. Hopefully with Zach LaVine coming back, an influx of energy there, just more things you can do offensively with having Zach LaVine out there, even if he's not quite 100%. Well, we'll see if he is. It just the way that teams have to defend him is going to be completely different, and this team's going to have to be locked in on that side of the ball. So we'll see. We'll see. I do trust that the Bulls can get a win. It's not going to be an easy win by any stretch of the imagination. Let's not act like it's like the Bulls are just going to come marching in there and just get a big time win against the Cleveland Cavaliers easily. That's why they've been resting him up until this point. But this team is going to have to lock in defensively. They're going to have to look at themselves. They're going to have to figure it the hell out. They got to figure it out. The Cavs lost their first game of the season. They're going to be trying to get a win, a statement win. Darius Garland is out, so we'll see what happens with that. Donovan Mitchell is about to try to cook, and they may move Io to Donovan Mitchell. But if not, I still will need to see Zach LaVine show some things defensively as well. This team needs to stand up. We need a big win tonight. But all right, this is supposed to be a mailbag episode. Let's go ahead and get into the first voicemail. This one's from Shay.
What's up, Hayes? This is Shay. A lot of people are talking about Patrick Williams' bad start at the start of 2 games. But remember, and you the one that brought this up last season, before Patrick Williams got hurt, and I think you said something like game after game after game, before he ended up getting hurt and being out for majority of most of the season, he was showing a little bit of aggressiveness. So I think that, and you might be reading this before the game against the Cavaliers, so I'm going to say it. I think that he might show a little bit more aggressiveness game after game. I think it's just a one game at a time with him. And I think that, as the season go on, in about 20 games, you're probably going to see a different Patrick Williams. Now, I know you're going to say your mouth to God's ears. I get that. But this is a kind of similar pattern for him from like before when he got hurt. Then again, it may not be. Anyway, so much think. Peace.
All right. So passive P, right? And him saying show more and aggressive over 20 games. The thing with this is, and this is what I'm saying, is that the first 20 games of the season are some of the toughest games we're going to have all season. One of the toughest stretches we're going to have all season. So if it takes you 20 games, like, do we have 20 games to wait? Like, either way, it's going to be on the roster, right? So, but if he's not showing any progression in the aggressiveness, to me, he's not showing. If we start to see that, okay, cool. If you start to show it, if you're improving game in, game out, you're showing a little bit more, being a little bit more confident, going out there and doing more things, just adding something to your game every game from now on till we hit over the next 18 games to get to those 20 games. Okay, cool. But even Shea, to your point, and Shea uses a lot of comparisons. What he showed, and I did say the game that he went out was his most aggressive game last season. Well, before the injury, right? He was his most aggressive in that New York Knicks game when he ended up getting hurt. But that took 5 games, right? That was 5 games. So it's 2 so far. Let's see if that trend holds true over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 games. But I tell you what, as much as Bulls Nation is kind of tired of P. Will, and he's now become the focus, and we do this every season. It's always one player that we focus on, and then everything, whatever the Bulls do, is we're just going to blame it on that one player. There were a lot of reasons why we lost, and it wasn't just P. Will last night. But with that being said, he has to start showing it. I think if he starts showing it, then the Bulls fans will come along. At this is Chicago. We are a results-based city, right? If you give the results, and we see that, we see the effort. We are effort and energy. Look at some of our favorite players in Bulls history. Look at some of the players that we really that galvanize us. It's players that play with energy. It's players that play with confidence. Players that plays with an edge. Patrick Williams needs to learn that, right? He needs to learn that. He needs to stop hanging out in Arlington Park, and he needs to go hang out in downtown Chicago or something. He needs to get a little bit of an edge. Hell, DeMar, drop him off in Compton and come back and pick him up in 12 hours. I don't know what you need to do. But Patrick Williams needs to find that edge and playing that consistently. I still believe in the guy's potential. I still believe in his skill. But like I said before, every year that Patrick Williams doesn't grow, that ceiling comes down. That's like he started off with the Kawhi comparisons. Then not and it goes down. Every bit of what you see his ceiling can be if he's not growing, right? And Patrick Williams has grown. Now, again, as I've been saying and I've been harping on, it's been 1 full season and 19 games. So let's see how it comes and how he continues to develop. But it's just the body language out there. That's the most concerning thing when it comes to Patrick Williams, right? It's just, he just seems lost out there at times. He seems not engaged out there at times. I don't know if he's beating himself up in his head by every play or whatever. I don't know what it is, but he got to figure it the hell out. This is the NBA. This is Chicago, and we have to see the results. If you give that effort, right, well, they'll get back on the bandwagon. They'll get back on the bandwagon. I know it and I trust it. We just need to see that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. This next voicemail, this one's from Mingo.
Hey, man, this your boy Mingo, calling from the G. I got one basketball observation, man, and a mad question. My observation, man, is Drummond. I think Drummond the best pickup of the summer for the Bulls. When I think of the Sixers, Drummond was the reason, man, Embiid got so much bench time. You know what I'm saying? He gave my man the much-needed rest on the bench. Felicio, Tony Bradley, nobody could give Vooch the rest that he needs that could handle the second stringers, man. They could keep it together until Vooch get a little bit of rest. And my mad question, man, I was going to leave this on Locked On Bulls, man, but my mad question, man, is your boy Pat Designer, man. I love both of y'all, man, but the thing that's driving me crazy is my man, those frames, those white frames. I just got one question, man. Is it lenses in those frames? Because it's driving me crazy. I don't think your boy got lenses in those frames, man. I don't know if that's a light-skinned thing. I'm a dark-skinned dude. But it's driving me crazy, man. Just let me know if the lenses in those frames.
All right, I'll answer that last question first. Like, first of all, when it comes to Pat the Designer's frames, I have no fucking idea, bro. I don't even know. I'm going to have to ask Pat. I have no idea, fam. I do not know. But when it comes to Drummond being the best pickup of the summer, it's really starting to look like that. In 18 games, being able to give you a double-double, and that's what I was saying with the projection. Drummond, if you give him 18 to 20 minutes, can get you a double-double every night. Having that production off the bench is way better than anything we got at any backup position last season for the most part. And that's, again, because a lot of our backups had to be end up forced to be starters. The Drummond acquisition is going to pay dividends for the rest that you mentioned. Giving Vooch more rest and not have things completely fall off the rails because Vooch isn't in the game where we have a player that just isn't good in that backup position, right? Drummond being able to come in and be competent, him and Goran Dragic, like just having those veterans coming off the bench that just know how to go about and get things done is alone going to be huge for this team. Much less Kobe being able to just keep being that 10 to 12 point scorer off the bench, Shooting, I need to see tighten up a little bit. But even with that being said, him given that, this bench is going to average 20 to 25 points off the bench per game. And that's way more than what we had last season. So with that being said, the bench production, I think, is going to step up. And then when you look at moving Alex Caruso back to the bench, it's going to be huge. But Drummond is absolutely one of the best signings of this offseason. And he's going to be one of the better bench players in the league, I think, right? But we have to have more than that. And, we'll see with that. We're 1-1 to start the season. We went from one game and then to another, and we know the ebbs and flows of Bulls Nation and our emotions. We're an emotional fan base. But the Drummond pickup is one of the better pickups that the Bulls have ever done, in my opinion. And, shout out. Andre Drummond's going to pay off big dividends for the Chicago Bulls. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from the 312. He didn't leave his name.
Hey, babe. I just got one quick question. What do you think of the idea of when Lonzo gets back, you give him the Ben Simmons treatment? What I mean is put him at the 4 with Io starting at the point guard and possibly having Patrick Williams and Javonte Green coming off the bench. That's what I want to know. Go Bulls, too, guys. Have a good day.
All right, so no, Lonzo at the 4. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? In what world do you play Lonzo at the 4? Come on, man. You can't be serious with this voicemail. I wanted to have some fun. This is a levity voicemail. It made me laugh, honestly, and that's why I played it. But come on, you can't. No, we're not starting Lonzo Ball at the 4. That's not happening. Come on. No, you don't. I get it. Javonte and Patrick Williams have played very bad since the season started. But you're not starting Lonzo at the 4. Come on. Damn. You're not. Lonzo's not start. Pray for him. Pray for him. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This last one for today. This one's from 8 Lives.
How you doing? Hey, this is 8 Lives, man. We're going to find ourselves giving Billy a lot of credit this year over a lot of these coaches because he's going to be winning these games. And last year when he was losing a lot of them games, we was always saying he was getting out-coached. Well, this year we're going to be saying he out-coached a lot of coaches this year. And it's simply because of the talent, bro. Last year, it was easy to see. We had Troy Brown Jr., I can't remember the guy that played for the Raptors, the older guy that was a guard, shooting the threes, where he's supposed to be a specialist. Then we had about 2 or 3 players that was on 10-day contracts. We don't have that now. Billy got better weapons, and I'm gonna give you an example. The other day when Redmond was still doing his thing, but last year I remember when Redmond was killing with us. Well, I'm sure, yeah, that Deadman, Redmond, whatever his name is, he was killing us. And we could never beat Miami. Well, this year we don't have no bombs. He couldn't take a playoff. I mean, I think he found out the game because he could never take a playoff because of every player that we got out there. You know what I'm saying? They got some type of talent and they're some type of threat. Minus if somebody want to say something about Patrick Williams, he's still a threat. So. This year, man, it's going to be different. There's a lot of teams that's not going to even play as hard as Miami plays, so the Bulls going to come up on some wins, bro.
I love this voicemail. A, for one, because it takes acknowledgement of something that we critiqued last season. And sometimes as a sports fan base, we don't do that, right? We take these, or we have our critiques, and then when things improve, we kind of just move on. Billy Donovan has been coaching better. And if that's a result of having a more talented roster, then shout out. But his adjustments have been better. Not as much in the Washington game, but definitely in the Miami Heat game, especially looking at the coach he was coaching against in Eric Spoelstra. I like the way that love the rotations that he's using. And I think that's something that we overlook sometimes as a fan base is not just who's in or how many minutes people play, but who they're playing with, the combinations on the floor. Billy Donovan has given us a really nice mix of combinations on the floor that have found different success. Having Goran Dragic out there, and sometimes we're playing 3 and 4 guards out there, but the intelligence level, and the defense, the getting out in transition, the way that he uses Drummond and pick and rolls, like the way that he staggers certain lineups and uses players, has been great. Billy Donovan, again, while I've always maintained and said he may not be the coach that gets us over the mountaintop, he definitely can be the coach that helps us climb the mountain, right? And that means that teaching people the right things, having the players learn how to win, like that's happening. But Billy Donovan is coaching much better this season. He's making adjustments quicker. He's bringing players in and out quicker. He's going to the hot hand a little bit more if players do have it, using Io more in that Miami Heat game in ways that we just haven't seen Io use a lot on the offensive side of the ball over his career. The positions he puts Drummond in the pick and roll, and even the way he uses Kobe White. If you notice, Kobe White coming off more pin downs, things like that. And he's tried with Javonte Green as well. Javonte just hasn't been hitting shots. And this, keep in mind, we're missing one of our biggest offensive weapons in Zach LaVine as well while we're talking about that. Billy Donovan has coached a hell of a season so far. You're not going to win every one of them. The Washington Wizards 2-0. The Bulls fall to 1-1. But I do like what Billy Donovan is doing out there coaching-wise. He is doing some things, using challenges, getting fired up, talking to refs. Like, you're seeing a different Billy Donovan. When he talked about in that offseason, they wanted to build that identity. They needed to build that. That also went to the coaching staff, and you can see that a little bit more with him. He is very much more active. He is doing a lot of the standing on the sideline, pacing back and forth, chewing gum. That's going to happen. That's Billy Donovan. But we're also seeing him talk to players, bring them over there, getting fired up with the refs a little bit more than what I think we've seen him chip at refs more this season already in 2 games than what we saw any last season. So Billy Donovan is definitely taking that, and he is coaching better. I do like the adjustments. I like the combinations of the lineup as well. I would have liked to see maybe Dalen Terry worked in them when we need some more. Like last night, we needed an energy boost at times. I would have liked to see him maybe get out there. We'll see, especially, well, we're not facing the Cavs full backcourt. But, I like what he's doing. I like the way that he's using players. Billy Donovan is doing a hell of a job. And the improved talent on this team is evident. It is evident in the improved talent. The fact that we are literally going to go probably 10 to 11 deep all season long. And the type of season that we have, especially in these first 3 weeks, it's just going to bode well. Like this feels like a different team. Now, again, at parts last night against the Wizards, it felt like last year's offense. That's not all on Billy Donovan. Hopefully he talked to them and shoot around today. They need to get back to that, especially having Zach LaVine out there. I need to see everybody moving without the ball. But at least with what we've seen in 2-game sample size and the preseason, Billy Donovan is doing a much better job, and he does deserve a lot of credit for the improved play and the utilization of players so far in this season. But that is it for the mailbag today, guys. We'll have another mailbag tomorrow, but today is also a game day, so you know what that means. Pre-game, post-game, halftime hangouts all tonight. So make sure you're here for that. I'll get most of those scheduled so you guys know ahead of time. But that's it, man. Thank you so much for tuning in to Chicago Bull Central. Make sure you're following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail, the number to do so is 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, See Red. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.